Hi, this is Ken Jung, and the person attempting to overlap me was Joel McHale.
That's Sir Joel McHale. I got knighted in the last week.
Up. This is the Darkest Timeline Podcast, Episode 2, Electric Boogaloo. Thank you for listening in last week.
No one's made that joke before, Ken.
Okay. All right. We'll start over again.
And No. Continue. You're doing great.
Can I go?
Go ahead.
Can you not overlap me?
I won't say a thing.
We just
action. You got it.
We just want to. All right, that's been episode 2 of the Darkest Timeline podcast. We hope you enjoyed this. And until one of us gets his shit together, then maybe we'll give you a proper episode. Not my fault. Not my fault.
Ken is coming from a Boys to Men video set from 1993.
This is
is that the Will I'll Make Love to You?
Hey, this is yeah. We belong together. This is like a timeline. This is like it's Bone Thugs and Harmony. See you at the crossroads, and I'm gonna miss everybody. That's what the fans want. Early 1996 reboots from two guys who have no musical skills whatsoever.
First time a band does not want royalties for their song being sung.
Anyway, It is nice talking to you from Tony Braxton's bedroom. We just want to see something. I just want to say hello. You know
this
what?
Tony Braxton joke brought to you by Coke Zero, the drink.
By Coke Zero.
And John.
Hey, you want some Tony Braxton alts? Go to Coke Zero right here.
And while you're at it, pick up a North Face coat.
Pick up
Their
the same.
fleece is the softest and warmest.
And
here on Darkest Lime.
Worn by a celebrity that wears exactly the same clothes every week. Every day,
I like that
every week.
Because it's going to be hard to tell the difference between our podcasts. People are going to go, wait, which episode was this? Ken is dressed exactly the same.
Hey, this shit is easy for pickups, all right? Inside baseball, dig it.
Damn.
Right?
See what happens when you have your own show. You were on Animal Hospital, right?
I'm not an animal. Animal Practice, I think, was the
Animal
name.
Practice.
Animal Practice is not. Animal Hospital, that's like vaguely racist, I think.
Why?
I don't know.
Towards what race?
Guinea
Irish?
pigs is Guinness. That's what that is.
Okay. So anyway, Ken, here we are. Go ahead. I'll let you say a few things before I interrupt you again.
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for listening to last week's podcast. We hastily put that together on Spotify. I literally think within 36 hours. I want to give a shout out to our amazing producer Andrew Hobson for putting that up. Literally,
amazing. The
one thing we can agree on was that Andrew put this up together. We didn't know when we were going to air. I mean, this has been so spur of the moment. We didn't know when we would air the podcast, and then the three of us were talking like, when should we do this? Should we put it on Saturday, Sunday, Monday? And they were all like, fuck it, let's just try for Friday at 2 p.m. And so whenever it got up on Spotify, we just decided to air it. And then just as of yesterday, I think Apple Podcasts picked it up as well. So just want to thank everybody for listening to it. And
thank you.
I mean, I've gotten maybe the best feedback of my career off of this podcast. That's not saying a lot. That meant one of my daughters liked it, kind of, sort of. So
can imagine if we didn't have Andrew and you and I just attempted to upload this thing to something to get people to listen to it. We'd be on our computer 20 hours a day still trying to figure it out.
Well, that FaceTime promo that we were trying to do, we did that on a Thursday night. It took us 2 hours, and you and I recorded what we thought was the funniest shit ever, and there was no sound, and my video didn't work. And we're like...
It was... Sarah, I went upstairs to bed, and Sarah was like, you said it was going to be a promo on FaceTime. I was like, no, that's what I was doing the whole time. That took 2 hours for us to record an 8-minute FaceTime call with no sound.
It was embarrassing because we work in show business. We're around technology we work with the best, producers, directors, cinematographers, the best camera operators, and we can't operate
Oh,
shit. It's
no.
embarrassing beyond belief that,
It's
celebrities.
amazing can get behind the wheel of a car and not run it into a tree every time I go out. I don't, I mean, I try, I sometimes, but thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
You are amazing. You look like Matt Damon's brother if he decided not to go into the movies.
He does look like Matt Damon on diuretics. He does. A little
Yeah,
bit. Just a little bit.
he's,
Yeah.
he looks like, yeah. I'm trying to, not Matt Damon from Stuck on You,
No.
uh, but Matt Damon from the first Jason Bourne movie, I guess.
Yeah. Born Identity. He's Born Identity, Matt Damon. Yeah.
All right, that's a compliment.
Not
Jeez,
not not informant Matt Damon, who that you appeared on because you keep
th-
reminding me every fucking
thank
day
you,
that you were
thank you.
in a Steven
2009
Soderbergh.
release, Steven Soderbergh. This is a
Yeah,
cast, dude.
whatever.
Quite a cast. You weren't in that.
Anyway, we had to have some amazing reviews of this podcast. Good
You're not
friend of
gonna read
mine.
them, are you?
Yeah,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
will right now. Charlie Day, who is a buddy of mine from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, texted
Name
me,
drop.
said, just listened to your podcast, really enjoyed it, was funny, insightful, good to hear your voice. I wanted it to be longer, and he actually said, I really enjoyed Joel too,
Wow.
which that right there informed me that his assistant texted me this, so it was very
I don't
interesting.
know.
And
You have his number.
I do have his number.
What is it?
I will.
I just want to have it for my phone call, my telephone here.
That's Joel on every episode of The Masked Singer. Whenever you guest judge, man, you're great. Just take off your mask. Tell me who you are. I mean, it's like,
This would save so much time.
Yeah,
if you just took your mask off and told us who you are.
you
'Cause
totally
what's the
would.
point of all this?
I have to say this is a bit of Masked Singer gossip. That first season when we were shooting in a vacuum and no one knowing that the show would be like the hit that it is, like you would say that after every performance. Who are you? This is great. Take off your mask.
Not how
That's
not how I
good.
sound.
And
I did find it funny when Nicole and Robin and Jenny all got very uncomfortable, and I was
They're
like,
very
"Hey, how much money are you guys making? And just tell me how much money you guys
Oh yeah,
have."
yeah. This is
They
Joel
were
during
not happy.
this is Joel during in between every commercial break. Hey, Robin Thicke, how much money are you making? Hey, Nicole Scherzinger, how much? Hey, and then no one would say anything. Everyone would ignore you, and then you would look up on CelebrityNetWorth.com. Hey, it said Robin. It said you make blah 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 blah. And
That
then
is not. This is a terrible impression of me.
and
It's one of.
and
Oh,
Robin Thicke is one of my best friends, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this. After you left, because we had more show to do, he said, "Hey, Kenna, I think I want to punch your friend."
I would too. I did,
And
'cause,
now everyone knows exactly who you are, exactly how you do things, and you are the most beloved guest judge
Oh.
on The Masked Singer. Like everyone loves you. From
I'll tell
Fox.
Anthony Anderson the great news.
Yeah.
He's going to be pissed. He is going to be pissed.
But
Man, oh man.
you have been on the show more times as a guest than anybody else on The Masked Singer. You've been on it for like 5-6 times, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it was. I've guested twice each season.
Yeah, but we would shoot it. We would shoot like 2 episodes at once, and then you would do 2 episodes. Like
Yeah.
you would be on for many weeks.
Very
So-
fun, and show is truly maddening to figure out who the heck it is. I'm amazed by Robin and Nicole that they can spot those voices like that.
Robin Thicke and Nicole Scherzinger. One of the beautiful like fringe benefits of doing that show is that you are surrounded by so much talent, and then they'll sing songs for the audience just in between commercial breaks, and I have like recorded everything, and then the network would slap the phone out of my hand because I'm not supposed to have a cell phone there. So, but
Did you ever sing for the audience?
anyway, we've had some great feedback just from
Mhm.
all the fans.
Who else other than
and-
Charlie Day? But thank you, Charlie, for listening. Jeez.
Well,
Anybody? Any of your other celebrity friends? One
Anyway.
review.
we've had some great feedback from a lot of fans. Just want to thank everybody for listening. And this week,
Keep going. Sorry. Oh my lord.
the-
I just barged in. Why did I do? I don't know. Did I just break everything?
You just broke right in. Uh,
God.
ladies and gentlemen,
Shit.
you're not going to believe who's
ladies,
here.
ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even know this guy, but apparently someone who looks like Andrew Yang just burst in on this phone call. Andrew Yang, everybody, just want to say this is exactly how we rehearsed it. So just want to say salute, and we may do this again. We may not. We may just keep it in. I think.
Oh, we should definitely keep it in. Yeah.
Oh.
This is. I just like how Andrew Yang can break into any Skype call he wants.
Yeah.
Yes, technology. I'm like the Kool-Aid man of Skype calls. I'll just bust on in and be like, "Oh yeah."
Is this how you burst in on Rogan's podcast? You just can like I don't know. Rogan had on Bernie Sanders, and you just walked in. Hey guys, can we talk?
I'm like, how'd you get in here? Well, I can do what I want.
So,
I would love to have somehow photobombed that particular
okay,
podcast.
for those of
Hey,
you
burners.
for those of you just listening right now, Andrew Yang just appeared on our FaceTime on our call right now. We have as our special guest Andrew Yang on the darkest timeline. So I can't.
Yeah.
Words can't express.
Andrew,
right now.
thank you for hurting your career by coming on our second episode.
And I like that we were such jabronis. We don't know how to bring up Andrew Yang ourselves. And Andrew Hobson, our producer, is like, hey, me and Joe are rambling so long. And Andrew said, remember to bring up Andrew Yang. And then Andrew Yang just fucking
He appeared.
Oh my
I like
God.
that. I like a guest that just break. I love that. It's perfect. So Andrew Yang, you are, thank God that you're here on this planet. And you're an American here in our country at this crazy time. I think a lot of people tuning in thinking it's going to be a community watchback podcast, but now we have international politicians, people who ran for president, and Andrew Yang, who might single-handedly save our economy. Is that right? Possibly? Can you? Please?
I would love to be a part of the solution. Certainly, this pandemic has accelerated many of the trends that I've been concerned about for years. And it's highlighting the need to put money directly into people's hands. Right now, it's a necessity for families to stay afloat. But it's going to continue to be a necessity because the dark truth is that our economy is not going to snap back to what it was after this virus clears. That's just not the way organizations work. It's not the way consumer confidence works. There are many, many people right now that are unfortunately battening down the hatches and preparing for a really rough period. And I think that's unfortunately the right approach.
Yeah.
Andrew,
you can see. Go ahead, Ken.
Andrew and I are friends, and I endorsed him during his historic presidential run, and it was an honor to endorse you because you are the first Asian American Democratic candidate in presidential history to run for president, and it was just it was such an honor. And Andrew,
that's not why, Ken. I'm kidding.
Wait, hold on. Time out. Are you blaming me? Are you blaming me like I somehow ended your campaign because once I said it, then you're like, okay, campaign suspended.
I'm just saying it wasn't because of the Asian thing. It was because of a fundamental connection to my platform. Because I know, Ken, you would never just glom onto a campaign because of the Asian thing.
No, actually,
I don't think I think you're underestimating Ken. I don't think he agrees with you about anything politically.
How dare you?
But
just because I wanted to get Donald Glover's phone number, how dare you? So what I forgot his number when we saw him in November. But no,
you were
my big thing. It was funny. Andrew and I talked over the Christmas holidays, and it was fun. Like I did not want to endorse anyone without having just a consensus with my family, with my wife, and so you and I and my wife Tran, we got on a phone call, and we really I mean, Tran did a very thorough job, just kind of talking policy, talking, exactly what UBI, Universal Basic Income, is all about. Talked about healthcare. We talked about so many issues for an hour, and I was thinking the whole time, both my wife and I we were just so stunned at how much time you took to talk to us and how patient you are with us, because if anything, we asked you a lot of challenging questions, and we were really we were really just struck by how sincere you are and how authentic you are, and just it's really just an honor, man. It really is, dude. And we've talked so many times since. It's just cool that it's just cool I can call you my friend now, man. It's just great.
Well, thanks, Ken. I mean, I appreciate you and Tran digging in. And Joel, to your point, I mean, we have to start trying to prepare to rebuild our country for when this virus does clear, because it's going to need a lot of help. Things are not going to knit themselves back together. We're going to be dealing with the scars of this for quite some time. And the question is just how deep those scars run, because you can see it in some of the trends that are coming out of China and the countries that experienced the virus early on, but you see elevated divorce rates. You saw elevated levels of child abuse and domestic violence. I mean, we're putting a very benign face on people being at home, but the fact is, if you're trapped at home for weeks or even months on end, some harm develops, and it's compounding over time. Our economy in particular, I've run organizations, and the fact is, when there's a recession, a lot of organizations make decisions that they've been putting off for a while. They're not going to hire back all of these people. I mean, if you look at it, I think Macy's just said they were furloughing the majority of their 125,000 employees. There were a lot of those employees that were on the brink anyway. And then when they make the decision to furlough 125,000, they're not going to bring back 125,000 after the stores reopen, because they're going to expect a diminished level of business. So these changes are going to be with us for a long time. I wish I had better news to report, but we have to start getting value into people's hands and rethink how our economy works very, very quickly.
I mean, you were the first one to bring up universal basic income last year, and so it was very interesting to me when the White House administration brought that up as a possibility. Mitt Romney brought that up as a possibility, and then when that was announced publicly, I texted you, and I just texted you 3 words: "You were right." and it was it. I think you. What I love about you is that you are a visionary, and you are in many ways ahead of your time, but talking to you on a deeper level, you're also a realist, and it's very hard, especially in the Democratic Party, to kind of merge those elements of, maybe having some more moderate fundamentals with progressive fundamentals. It's like almost an impossible marriage, but somehow you pulled it off, and I really feel that that's why you connected with so many people, and that's why you transcended party lines. It was astonishing to see how many people across the board just gravitated towards you, and I think also you weren't negative at all. You weren't. You were nothing but positive, And I felt like you were. I think that's the forward thinking that a lot of people, myself included, it's hard not to be negative. And how was it? How was it on the campaign trail? Just keeping up with your humanity forward philosophy. I mean, I feel like you're the only candidate in either party to do that. I still don't know how you kept that up.
Ken, what's funny is on the trail, when you interact with everyday Americans in Iowa, New Hampshire, or Ohio, wherever it is, it's actually pretty easy. It's like most people that come out to see you are just interested in improving their lives and trying to make things better for their family. It actually got tougher when you dealt with the dynamics of the race, where I have to be honest, like there were folks who told me, it's like, hey, throw some rocks at people like various times, because they thought that would gin up attention because the press is more likely to cover conflict. It's one reason why you saw on the debate stage some of the lower polling candidates. It always seemed like they tried to engage in some kind of death grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought there was some logic to that, but I was like, if I did that, one, it's not my natural tendency, and two, people are going to see right through it. It's going to seem just like another obvious political move, and I in particular would be terrible at it. So, like it was easier on the trail, Ken, than it was in terms of debates and other parts of the race.
Yeah, I find on my own lower level, I feel the same way. It's easier for me to be positive, when I'm meeting my fans and meeting my friends, and then there's certain people along the, and then again there's certain people along the trail, the podcast trail, and you're looking at them right now that it's kind of hard not to be negative with when you're with such a deep soul that is so devoid of
Ken,
humanity.
When your career gets going,
beard,
people are gonna really love.
I hate everything you stand.
No,
to
I mean, you
Don't
got
embarrass
famous
me
by showing
in front
your
of
penis
Andrew
at
Yang.
jumping out of a car,
This is
and I think that's
a
great.
big deal to me. And stop
Could
overlapping me.
Not
in
overlapping
front of
you
Andrew
at all.
Yang.
You sound like a
And
desperate
stop
candidate, Ken, who is
talking
attacking.
like this in front.
I can't
of
believe the great Andrew Yang has to deal with.
Do
Just, do you think if we could
What?
get the economy started by hiring an interior designer for Ken? It looks like he broke into a hotel in 1989. All right. No, but Andrew, I wanted to ask you, so what is your day like? Do your days like these days? You obviously wear a sport coat around the house, which is very cool.
Again, just waist up. I've got gym shorts on.
He's got Billabong shorts right underneath.
But to do what you're doing, which is trying to fix, work out this economy in this crazy time. So what does your day look like?
It is frustrating, and I feel for folks like Joe Biden, who's, like the presumptive nominee, and he's trapped in his house just like the rest of us. And you and Ken, Joel, are kind of professional entertainers, and so if you just stick a camera on you, you can like make it work. That's not the case. That's not the case for most political figures, honestly. Like, you can't just like stick a camera up and be like, go. And so it's harder for public officials who are trying to do positive things. For me personally, right now, I'm maybe busier than ever. And a lot of the work that I'm doing can be done from afar or virtually. So the thing I'm proudest of right now is that we've raised $1.25 million and given away about 1.1 million of it to needy families around the country through my organization, Humanity Forward. So if you're listening to this and you need a micro grant of $250 to $500, you can go to movehumanityforward.com, and no promises because demand is far outstripping our ability to meet it, but we'll do our best. And if you're able to donate, you can do the same, and every dollar will go to someone who's in need right now. So that's keeping me busy. I'm launching a podcast. It sounds very original, but I have to say it was in the works. I've got.
Is it a rewatch of Family Ties?
I did like that.
Hey, I'd watch that. I'd listen to that. Andrew Yang, he does a Mallory rewatch. That's what I want.
I would love, Andrew, you'd be like, well, this is where Mallory got her boyfriend Nick.
Yeah, exactly.
And
then Nick goes,
I love this.
Hey, Mr. Keaton, hey! I would love that.
I was a big Justine Bateman fan. You remember that movie she was in? I think it was called Satisfaction.
Yes, I do remember that.
If you haven't seen it, it's a classic of the era. So
you know what? We're talking about the important issues, man. The economy, Justine Bateman, satisfaction.
These are important
I think
issues that
all
people.
The bullet points. I really do.
Yeah. I can't believe you're doing a podcast about this. Thanks for coming on, Andrew Yang. Bye. No.
But I'm working on a project to try and activate people's consumer data rights. So that's very exciting because right now people don't know what's going on with our data, and it's getting sold and resold over and over again. And there may be a way to actually get money into people's hands. I'm all about putting money into people's hands, as you know. So this may be a way to do that. I'm really excited about. I'm obviously doing some work for CNN from home. And I'm working on something right now that I'm going to try and rope you both into, but it's called the All American campaign. It's around trying to call out the fact that we're all American. And right now, there are many Asians who are bearing the brunt of coronavirus-based racism and hostility because people blame China for the rise of the virus. And obviously, there's some truth to the fact that Chinese government screwed us all. But that has very little to do with Chinese Americans or Korean Americans or other people that are living their lives here. So we're working on a campaign to try and call out the fact that we're all American and that we all need to stay together and pull each other up. And certainly many of my friends in the Asian American community are donating time, resources, money, like trying to buy masks for communities in need. And so I'm working on that. I'm busier than ever. And it's a very strange feeling because, when you're trapped at home, like the thought is like, well, maybe I'll just kick it with my family for a little while. But like, I certainly feel a real responsibility to try and help the country through this time because it's such a painful time.
I mean, the gaslighting of,
it's crazy.
I'll just say it. The gaslighting and calling it Chinese virus just has sickened me from the get-go, where I literally have to bite my tongue. It is just so transparent to me. It is racist, it's sickening, and it affects all of us. You do not do that. And you and I, Andrew, we've talked about it, off the record, and I'm just so happy that you're doing something about it and galvanizing the Asian American community to fight this, because we're all affected. We're all affected, yep. And not just Asian American. This is affecting us as a country. This is not what we stand for right now. This is a global problem. This is a global pandemic. And as a physician, when you're seeing all of these cases in this country right now, and we are rising up that steep slope of that curve that we're trying to flatten through social distancing, as we're talking right now, estimates are growing of the death rate, and that affects all of us. And I know we all know somebody that has been affected with coronavirus, and it is to a point right now where we just got to stop gaslighting people. It's stupid.
It's not helping.
It's racist, and it's insulting to our intelligence as a nation. And I am,
Ken, did I tell you? I went into an urgent care 2 weeks ago, right before it got bad. I don't know if you can see. I cut my head open while I was headbutting Ken, and
that's right.
But I went to this urgent care and I said, "How many people?" This is right at the beginning, and I said, "How many people are calling in?" They're like, "We can't put the phone down." And then I said, "How many people are blaming Corona beer?" And as a joke, they said, "You wouldn't believe how many people are saying they're not drinking." And then voluntarily, they said numerous people have said, "Oh, and we're not going to Chinese restaurants." And I just thought, you got how ignorant, it's just incredible that, and yes, and obviously the White House needs to be the first to lead the in education. And so it's a mess.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about Andrew. Like you put your country over your party, and you even publicly just applauded anyone who like gravitated towards your principles and ideals, including the Trump administration, including Mitt Romney. Like what I like about you is that you gave credit where credit is due. You weren't making it a political issue. You're not even in the race anymore, and then you're just applauding people for, and willing to help out in any way you can. And that's what everyone in this country needs to do, is follow your lead and just cross party lines and just, I don't know, and just move forward together. And that, you inspire me, on that level.
Yeah. The only silver lining that could come out of this time is if we do things differently on the way out. Like if we come together, if we have different kinds of solutions, like putting money directly into people's hands, which, as you guys know, I've been passionate about as like the best way to help people solve their problems and improve our lives. That's my hope for this, is that this is a terrible time. Like it's almost impossible to even try and find a silver lining in it. It's so destructive and devastating on so many levels. But the hope I have is that if we come out of this willing to do things differently, willing to come together across party lines, then maybe we can do things that actually help move the country forward on the way out of this crisis.
Yeah.
I mean,
and yeah.
No. Go ahead, please.
No. Why do you hate math so much?
No. He likes it. That's what he.
Oh!
That's why it's on the thing. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I was got to get screwed.
But does it look backwards? Because of my, what's funny is it really was like a supporter who came up with the acronym "Make America Think Harder." A lot of the campaign was very organic and grassroots that way. But math started out as sort of a humorous aside in the campaign, but it actually embodied the fact that math is nonpartisan. Like the facts don't lie, numbers don't lie. You can't wish them away, and you can't wish this virus away. This country unfortunately has gotten trapped in this two-party duopoly where you have like these two alternate versions of reality that are competing. And then there's this objective version of reality that like actually just out the window. And it doesn't serve any of us well if you have these two sides that are essentially will try and negate whatever the other side is doing.
I have to ask you on a lighter note, why the no tie? Like on every debate state, what was your thinking behind it? Not wearing a tie to anything.
I will happily lighten up, Ken. But like I don't want to, be adding to what people are feeling. No, it was interesting. The first debate came up on the schedule. I hadn't been wearing a tie on the campaign trail, and so I said to the team, "It's like, hey, am I wearing a tie to this thing?" And so the first thing we did is we looked at the rule book. And the funny thing about the debate rule book is there's absolutely no dress code. So in theory, I could have worn an ape costume or like whatever the heck, like there was no actual rule around it.
Like a Who Farted t-shirt. Yeah.
So we had one.
That would have been outstanding if you had decided to dress up as an ape wearing a Who Farted t-shirt.
That's a humble pitch, Andrew. Next time. Next 2024.
Yes, we had a number of jokes. I could go with that t-shirt and blazer look, and the t-shirts could be like an advertisement for something. And then every commercial break, I would change t-shirt. It'd be a different color and a different message.
Oh.
So we had all sorts of thoughts around it. But, like the team looked at it and said, well, look, if you haven't been wearing a tie this whole time on the trail, do you really want to put one on for the debate? And I was like, well, they'll just show up without a tie, and like it'll stamp me as a non-politician. I genuinely don't like ties because I had to wear one a lot as a teenager. I went to this boarding school that had a dress code, and so I had like this long time aversion to them because as a teenager I was, like stuck wearing them a lot. It was like a Dead Poet Society type school.
Ken also hates wearing ties because he still doesn't know how to tie them, and
no, it's
his
not.
neck.
Hey, whoa! It's not about. It's more. It's more of a jowl issue than like an inability to tie. But go on, Andrew.
No,
please.
I would say that's also an issue. Go ahead. Sorry, Andrew.
Please, sorry, Andrew. Enough about my chins.
I have to say, community alums. I mean, you all have done such cool stuff. I feel like
most of us, right, Joe?
Like the breeding ground for people who've had outstanding careers. I mean, you two and Donald and everyone else. It must be fun. Like, do you guys ever have de facto reunions?
We had one.
Go ahead,
that we referenced on the last podcast back in November. We had a reunion in LA, and Joel organized a dinner afterwards and brought everyone to his favorite steakhouse. And Dan Harmon, the creator, the whole cast and community was there. And Joel brought Donald Glover to the dinner, and a lot of us hadn't seen him in a while, and it was The best night ever. And I wouldn't know because I blacked out. But anyway, that's not beside the point. Andrew Yang is beside the point. So, but we had such a great time, and we're to say that we're on a family.
We're all on a text together.
Yeah.
Where right up to the very moment we started taping this podcast, we were texting because and now Community is now on Netflix, and so all this press just came out, and we were all making fun of it, and it's great that we all still like each other, and we look back on that time as a magical time that had a lot of hours.
Well, the viewership is about to multiply because literally everyone's stuck at home, and Community is now on Netflix. Oh my gosh! Literally, I think 5 to 10 times more people are going to watch it over this. I have to say, it was successful in its time. But
everyone always said the ratings were terrible, and then I would always look at the ratings. I'd be like, they're pretty good, and we're up against Big Bang Theory, so what's going on? And I don't have a chip on my shoulder about that at all.
Yeah, Joel, stop complaining to Andrew Yang about the 2011 ratings. All right, just stop it. Andrew Yang doesn't want to hear it.
He is a man. Go ahead, Andrew.
Let's talk more about Justine Bateman, Joel.
Now think about this. Literally 100% of Americans are at home. I mean, not 100. You'd probably say 95. They're probably 5% that are, or actually more than that if you include. Anyway, so let's call it 90% of Americans are at home. And then of them, you figure half of them have Netflix or have access to someone else's Netflix password. So you're looking at. So yeah, I mean, you're looking at tens of millions of Americans watching you all in your prime, at your comedic heights, or not your heights, because you're probably funny.
Yeah, no, that was Ken's fine. I think that was the best that Ken could do, easily. I think we would all agree on that.
I unfortunately agree too. But moving on,
Donald, his career just tanked afterwards.
Yeah.
And.
Exactly.
You guys were definitely carrying Donald around. That's clear.
Boom. We're going to grab that. We're going to grab that soundbite, and that's all we're going to record. That's all we're going to display. We carried Donald. That came from Andrew Yang. So that's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of royalties from those Netflix shows. Oh, wait. That's right. We won't see anything. These are the complaints that I have. Wait, Andrew, I got a question for you. I'm turning it serious again. I read a thing going questioning how food supplies are going to what's going to happen with food supplies in the next couple months, and there was a lot of questions like are they going to stop, and I wasn't sure if it was just a way to scare everyone or we should truly be worried about the food supply chain.
From what I've seen, production is still continuing. Everyone in that sector is considered essential. And then the processing is continuing. The transportation to grocers is continuing. I haven't seen anything that leads me to think that any of that is being impacted because everyone in that industry is considered essential. Now you are seeing a couple of strikes at Whole Foods and things on the front end, but that's in the scheme of what we're talking about, relatively marginal. I would be concerned if food producer companies and packers and truckers and if I saw strikes in those sectors, that would be a huge danger sign. But I haven't seen anything like that. I certainly sympathize for the Whole Foods workers because, literally all of their friends and neighbors are being told to stay at home for their health, and then they are continuing to go to work, and they're in very public-facing environments where they could plausibly say, it's I interacted with dozens of people today. Some of them were definitely within breathing range. I'm not getting exactly paid hazard duty pay, and so the fact that they're striking or protesting makes perfect sense to me. But I haven't seen anything that suggests our food supply is endangered in that way.
What do you think of the run on toilet paper?
I mean, I tweeted something that said, in theory, we'd be using the same amount of toilet paper as we ever did. It's not all of a sudden, you need twice the volume. It's unfortunate. Certainly when I saw an empty toilet paper shelf, it got me thinking that if I did see toilet paper, I'd buy an awful lot.
Right.
I think some of it really is just like crowd behavior, where as soon as you think something is going to be scarce, and it wasn't just toilet paper. It's like when I was going around the grocery store, I think eggs were scarce.
Yeah.
The one trip I went, and then I was like, I gotta find some eggs. Like as soon as you, and then the next time I went, then there were plenty of eggs. So there's probably just some randomness to when each grocery store gets supply. But I think toilet paper kind of just ended up feeding on itself as a thing because we all started seeing that there were shortages, and then if you did see some, then you bought it, a lot of it, and probably made the shortage worse.
Yeah.
I mean, on a
Can use a lot of toilet paper. Go ahead.
on
You
a
can see the entire bedroom is made out of it. So go ahead.
welcome to my cottonelle bed. But but it's I have an endorsement with him. Whatever, Joel.
Oh,
It's
0. Go ahead. North.
what really whenever I think about you is knowledge is power, and facts matter, science matters, and I think right now is proof positive that we can't deny the science, and it's all up to us to keep updated. For me, and my wife's a physician as well, it's so important that, and I preach this all the time on the podcast and on social media. I think the best source for me is cdc.gov. Their COVID-19 sites are updated continually, and it's evolved, and it's always an evolution. And I think really the best way to get behind all this is knowledge. And I think that's what you have been preaching all along is knowledge is power, and we got to stay informed, and we got to stay updated, and stop living in denial. Stop being, part of that Kubler-Ross death stage of just, denial right up front. And whereas some people in power are and were, and now that's evolving. And I think that's really, we have to get together and accept this reality, and then get the brightest minds to get new FDA. FDA has approved emergency use of hydroxychloroquine, and I get that. And there's some promising studies, like Cedars-Sinai has remdesivir, which is this amazing antiviral that's shown promise for SARS and MERS, and they're doing that at Cedars-Sinai right now. It's just really the best way to fix the economy is the medicine, is the science, to get randomized controlled trials that will lead to FDA-approved drugs, and also, getting fast tracking a vaccine. And the promising thing is that what I've read is that the virus is not mutating, and that's good from a vaccine perspective. You can make many scientists have already sequenced the genome for the coronavirus, for COVID-19, and you can replicate that synthetically to build antibodies against. And so I think there's a lot of promising therapies out there, but we can't have disinformation. We can't have people just talking on the air negating what someone else just said publicly. It's just ridiculous. And if that's confusing me as a former physician, I can only think of how that's confusing the whole public. And I really think we have to get on the same page, accept the science, and move forward.
Yeah, the best way to fix the economy is to get the virus under control. There really is no other way. Because if you have the virus continue to recur in waves, and you have to have multiple shutdowns and the rest of it, it's going to make it impossible to have consumers feel confident about making purchases, about businesses making investments. The virus is the answer. It's the cause of the problem, and it's the cure in terms of how we're going to get our economy actually moving in the right direction again. Anyone who thinks we're going to reopen things while we're dealing with the virus, to me, is wrongheaded.
Yeah, but there will. I mean, there's going to be a vaccine. Obviously, I mean, there is the end game here is that there will be one.
Just the question is when. But yeah, there will be a vaccine. It will be effective in the vast majority of cases. Really, the question is how long it takes us to get there, what happens between now and then. I mean, whether the distribution, whether its effectiveness is where it needs to be. So there are some risks with you kind of take a vaccine that maybe hasn't been vetted as thoroughly or isn't as effective, and then we try and distribute it maybe sooner than it's is optimal. I mean, the longest time frames I've seen are in like and this is actually not even long. This is actually pretty fast, and Ken might have better information than me on this. It's like an 18-month time frame is like is what people.
That's what they say is an 18-month time frame at the earliest, and it's I was explaining to a friend of mine who is a director in terms of in movies, like how this works. It really is just kind of, you have to, like in building a script, you have to write a rough draft, you have to write an outline, you have to write a story document. There's so many levels to getting, let's say, a polished script, ready to shoot, and there's at least 20 thorough vettings that are going on internally. And it's the same way, and then some, in medicine, because you have to make sure, A, that it's safe, because as a physician, do no harm, whether it's a medication, whether it's a vaccine. And then you have to test its efficacy to see if it works and how well does it work. And then you have to combine all those things and to see how it can be mass distributed. And I think that's what makes hydroxychloroquine so attractive. It's so funny, even I would have debates with my wife about it. My wife still practices, and I read that French study that all the hydroxychloroquine rage was about, and I was like, that makes sense if it's like you have a study of like maybe, I don't know, a half dozen people that were on hydroxychloroquine, half that were not, and then the hydroxychloroquine study, they showed that they all had improvement. What Sanjay Gupta on CNN accurately pointed out, 6 people dropped out of that study. 1 person died. Some of those people couldn't even handle the medication. So if you look at it's too small a sample size to say that's effective. Does it show potential, as Deborah Burke said? Yes, it shows potential. It shows promise, but we need a larger control trial, and those studies are undergoing right now. And not to mention that they're with the vaccine. There's a trial in Seattle that I love that is that I saw on MSNBC someone being interviewed, and to me that vaccine trial takes weeks to figure if that even works. So if that takes weeks on a small half dozen people enrolled in a vaccine trial locally, think about it on a national scale. It could take years.
Well, one thing we would definitely need is a faster way to say hydroxychloroquine. We'd have to call it the Drox or something like that.
Oh, that's what we need to trademark. You, me, and Joel. We just call
the Drox sounds good.
Yeah. Can you smell what the Drox is cooking? Maybe have a T-shirt that does that.
I feel like
you can put that on your ape suit in 2024. Just a thought. You don't have to say yes. Fine. All right.
He said yes. I think that was a yes.
Maybe they'll see this podcast and they'll change the rules for the 2024 debates. They'll be like, we might want to put in some dress code.
Hey, the DNC is bumping on the ape suit, and then you're like, well, Ken suggested it, and they're like, yeah, we know. So let's just not do that anymore. But Andrew, I just want to thank you for taking the time to come to talk to us, and thank you for continuing to inspire us. And please follow Andrew Yang on social media, and what he's doing right now, I say is even more significant, because right now he is making a difference on all levels and on all platforms and of all races. And I just want to thank you for just sharing your time and energies with us, and much love to Evelyn and your beautiful family, and just thank you. Hopefully we can reconvene under better circumstances and in person, and then we can talk together without Joel.
No. I think he was excited to come on the podcast because of me, because he loved The Great Indoors, even though in one season. But Andrew, what's the name when does the podcast start?
The podcast will be launching in the first week of May, we think. It's called Yang Speaks,
okay.
And we're really excited about it. Joel would love to have you on. I know Ken's going to be on sometime early on. Van Jones, Crystal Ball, Albert Wenger, who's like a futurist, who's putting money up for a universal basic income trial. So that there are a lot of really exciting things that we can do. I ran for president because I had a vision of both the problems and solutions. And one thing I'll say is that we can actually start working on some of these solutions independent of government. I mean, certainly, I think government has to play a huge role in solving some of the biggest problems of our time. That's why I ran. But I'm an action-oriented person. I'm certainly not just going to wait around. And there are things that we can do to improve our own lives and start solving these problems right now. Really appreciate you both. And
what's the charity again, Andrew?
The charity is Humanity Forward. And every dollar that gets donated to our coronavirus relief fund gets given to an American family in need. Again, we're up to 1.25 million. And if anyone wants to donate, please do go to movehumanityforward.com. Hopefully the name speaks for itself, but we have to just keep moving our people in the right direction, even in these dark times. Or especially in these dark times. So thank you for this opportunity. And Joel, fan of yours, look forward to hopefully having a conversation with you in the days ahead, either in person or if it's in this context remotely. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. Be safe out.
I'd love to come on the show and contribute nothing because you guys are way smarter.
Love you, Andrew. Run for mayor. Run for mayor in New York City.
Andrew,
sorry, I don't know how
Andrew
that
Yang,
came out.
everybody.
Yeah.
Sir Andrew Yang. I just knighted him.
Thank you, Andrew. Love you.
Way too cool. Look at that.
Wow, that's
second episode, Ken. That's second episode.
Wow. I am. I just can't believe. I mean, should we just stop our careers right now? It doesn't get any better than that right now.
I think your career stopped a while ago, so that's already taken care of.
We're actually in agreement on that one. I just, I can't believe that happened right now. Just talking to him, and he.
Very cool.
That was
smart.
That was amazing. He really is a visionary ahead of his time. And universal basic income, they've already employed that, like experimental. Like trials in like even Stockton, California, where I've done research on that in economically impoverished areas. To have that kind of stimulus works, and to have that available for everybody works. And
yeah, it's ironic that the thing you said, where now they're going to be giving people the money that he had been talking about.
Yeah, and everyone. Yeah, I mean, some people. Some people didn't give it much thought when that first came out, and hearing Andrew talk about it, and it was funny. My wife and I really, we were asking him questions in a lot of detail, like, well, what if you're well off and you don't need it, and there's an opt-out option on that. So he has it so well thought out, and even where the money is coming from is when you're doing a luxury tax on items. I could go on and on that would get way in the weeds, but once I really put my head around it, I was like, this makes so much sense. And that's what. But who knew? It's funny. In December, none of us knew. While we were talking about it, how this would come into play. And
well, absolutely.
And right now, and what I want to say again, the reason why we're doing this podcast in the first place, all of our thoughts, our love, our prayers go to all affected by coronavirus, COVID-19, and even in the last 7 days, I've had multiple friends and people close to me, as well as all of you listening out there, and I'm sure you and Joel and Andrew Hobson as well. We know people who are affected by this, and if not affected ourselves, and right now, we just want to provide some sort of outlet for this, whether it's an escape, whether it's talking to Andrew Yang and just kind of me getting my own frustrations out, because we're living in such unprecedented times. And it's funny, I'm putting my doctor hat on every chance I get. I just am.
Can we see the hat?
Yeah, it says Joe McHale sucks it. That's what it says. But
let me guess, is it a baseball cap you wear backwards?
Okay. The reference behind that is everywhere I go on Community, I would just always wear a baseball cap, my Duke baseball cap backwards, and I'd wear my same
You
clothes.
dressed like a kid who was delivering newspapers in like 1958. Like the hat, because then it would go way back. Yeah, it was. You aggressively are casual when you want to be.
Aggressively
when you're
casual.
Not, when you're not on camera, it's
Yeah.
aggressively.
It's aggressively casual. What I like about, by the way, anyone who comes in contact with Joel, and Joel's go-to move is always about the clothes. I mean, anytime if I'm like revealing tricks right now, Joel McHale's go-to move is always about literally dressing down a person, and I see the look in your eye. It got to a point by the end of like the fifth or sixth season, I could see when he's about to go on a riff, and even before he says anything, there's a gleam.
Excited.
There's a gleam. He gets so excited, and I remember you're about to like go off on somebody, and I just started crying, laughing, and then you looked at me, you started laughing. And you couldn't get through your bit because we would all be doubled over in laughter because it's like that's how well you know a guy. That's how well you know a guy. And but to your point, Joel, right now Community is on Netflix and it's so exciting.
Back on track.
And I know, back on track. I'm trying to keep this on. And Joel and I
are we taking a Community question right now? Is that what you're about to do?
I think we should do better than that right now. I think we
Let's
need to take
a Parks and Rec question.
I think we should actually take a community call because none of our friends know that we're doing this. I say, Joel, and this was your idea. I have to give you all the credit. I just say we call one of our buddies right now, and then we just reminisce about Community as we were last week.
We have to ask their permission for them to be on it.
We have to. They'll. I have one person in mind. I will call this one person right now, and this person doesn't know we're calling. And we'll ask for permission. If that person says no, then we'll go on to somebody else. We have like 8 to choose from.
It's Adam Scott, right? He was great.
Yeah, Adam Scott. That's exactly it. We'll see if I got this person on.
Wait, don't show their number.
Oh, shoot. Hold
Oh,
on.
it was their name. I didn't even see it, so.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see if she picks.
Hey, Gillian?
Hi. No, I think you have the wrong number.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Gillian?
Yeah, I think you have the wrong.
Gillian, are you kidding
blind?
me?
Do you have Gillian? Do you have a wrong? Yeah, shouldn't she change her number?
No, did she? Oh, you're right. That was a wrong Gillian. Oh, fuck! That just happened. That was Gillian, dude. That was like Gillian's. That was Gillian's old number, dude. That was Gillian's old number, dude. She just hung up. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. I got a right number now.
Oh wow.
Okay.
What a.
All right.
Does Joe Rogan do this?
Hold on. Oh, dude. Dude.
She's not gonna pick up.
Dude.
Hey, Gillian.
Hi.
Hey. This is Ken and Joel, and we're shooting our podcast, and we wanted to surprise you. Do we have your permission to put your voice on this podcast?
Do it.
I do.
Sure.
Yes, I have Gillian's permission. You heard it right here.
Need it.
Gillian is on the Darkest Timeline podcast with
Gillian Jacob,
Joel McHale, and myself, and I just want to say...
Ken, why are you yelling?
I don't know. That's my podcast voice. This was Joel's idea, which was a great idea to sneak attack,
yeah.
Call random community family, and you were our first. And
hello.
I was like, we gotta surprise Gillian, and I was hoping you wouldn't answer me, and then Joel would call you, and then you would answer. That was that was.
We'll tell you, Gillian. He called your old number first, and some person answered.
I called your old number, man, and she was like, "Hello?" I said, "Gillian," and she was like, "You have the wrong number." I said, "Gillian, you're on with Ken and Joel." She goes, "You have the wrong number," and I thought you were doing a bit, and I go, "Gillian, stop doing bits. Stop doing bits, you dumb bunny." And then she hung up, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was very rude. That poor woman probably gets calls all the time.
I think she's the president of iHeartRadio and is like, just
Oh my
like
gosh,
someone
it
like,
is?
yeah, something like that. What if she's just like highly influential and president of Paramount or something? I don't know. It'd be crazy.
Ken, as you remember from the texting today, I brought up the story where Gillian and I were getting ready to do a scene for Community in a car, and Gillian pointed it out. We walked into the set, and the set was lit for, was it lit for day, Gillian?
It was lit, whatever it was wrong. Either it was supposed to be day and they lit for night, or it was supposed to be night and they lit for day. But it was completely wrong.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know if you could hear that properly, but Gillian goes, isn't it supposed to be night? And said, all right, everybody go back to their dressing rooms, and we'll call you in an hour when we flip the entire set over. Oh, those are the problems we had.
Oh, those days.
What episode was that?
It was the Thanksgiving from season 4. We were like going to your dad's house, right? Wasn't that it? I think that was it.
Yeah, we had a funny conversation off the record that we can't say about. So there was some amazing stuff that we can't say. Needless to say, today's text, your text had me howling today. It was. Oh man, that was a good time, and I think Allison weighed in on some comment that I'd never known of, and that just made me laugh. I could not stop laughing, and Tran was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, it's just something."
Yeah,
it's just something.
And we're not even telling people what it is.
Yeah,
and our producer right now is just going like, just say it.
I know. We'll trim it. No. We'll trim all this, but there's man.
How many times? The podcast, you go like, well, we'll just cut this later. How many times do you think you've done that so far?
I have said this. Andrew has said 6 times. Well, I didn't want to. Hey, Gillian, last week I talked about Donald, about how I got blackout drunk at that dinner, and I kept saying on the podcast, we'll cut it out, and then we decided not to, and then
Did you talk about how you kept referencing a movie called Alien Braillian that night?
I don't remember that.
You kept talking to Donald about a movie called Alien Braillian.
Oh my God. Actually, I initially didn't want to put it on the podcast, but we were talking about how when we had that dinner for Vulture Fest at Joel's favorite steakhouse, how when Donald came over, I got blackout drunk, and man, I don't remember anything. And I remember you were, I think you personally were texting me just stuff that I have no memory of saying.
I have some videos that I can send you as well.
Are you kidding me? You're like, man, you are like the CIA.
I have a video of it too. Yeah.
No, Gillian is like the CIA because you texted me something yesterday, that notorious season 2 blooper of the ha 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 ha, and I still can't get through. And Gillian, you recorded it without any video, your thumbs over the camera, and it literally is just so incriminating. I was like, Gillian could totally work for the CIA. It made me laugh so hard. And but you were reminding me of some shit I was saying at the party that I have no memory.
You were shrieking at the
party. You were talking to Donald about a movie, Alien Braillian, that you were speaking very passionately about it, and Danny and I were looking at each other like, what's going on? But yeah, apparently you feel very passionately about a movie called Alien Braillian.
That with Donald, just like, I am never going to come back again and talk to you guys because, again, I'm like the ruiner of every social engagement. Oh my!
No, I think we were all thrilled. It felt like a vintage Community cast dinner.
Yeah, it was like real life Chang. It was like Chang in real life. I just come in and just puncture a moment. It was probably really, really heartfelt and just really poignant. And I just come in, hey, Donald, Alien Brilliant much? Did I really say that, man?
Do you even recall saying the words Alien Braillian, Ken?
I have no memory of saying the word Alien Braillian.
Well, you said it a lot.
I have never been drunk out of pure happiness and joy. You know, it was like people drink because they're isolated, depressed, but that whole day I was in such a giddy mood. I was drinking, you know, from the afternoon when we're doing the panel at the Roosevelt. I was embarrassed when I reheard it because I was laughing so hard, and I was already buzzed by that time, and it was embarrassing, but quite fitting looking back, and I'm kind of, you know, I wouldn't change a thing. It was.
I think we were all really happy that whole day. It was really nice. I don't think we all realized that we needed that, but that was a great day.
And it's a great day today because, you know, we're out on Netflix as we're taping this Wednesday, April 1st, and you of all people, out of all of us, I think you sent the most coolest videos and behind the scene photos to me. It really brought back a lot of memories, man. It's just it's still
so it would be
so
great
time.
To share those photos with the
I'm just bummed because
on
I
the
feel like
podcast.
I've lost photos and videos through transferring phones over the years, but I think I've got some good ones that I found.
We'll somehow post them. Andrew can help us there.
Yeah, it's funny. I was texting Joel afterwards after Gillian. I was like, man, we gotta repost some of these even on the site, and it just brings back a lot of memories. Out of anything that people ask you, you know, when people come across you and community fans, what do they say? Do they say any? I don't know.
Oh yeah, they say, "Oh, Britta's in this." No matter what it is, no matter what I will do for the rest of my life, they will quote Jim Rash in that Christmas episode, saying, "Oh, Britta's in this."
That is maybe my favorite. That's one of my favorite episodes of yours in general. Because you came out in that as a tree, right? You're a tree, and you couldn't sing, and you look gorgeous in it. And then what came out of your mouth was the complete opposite of gorgeous. It was like, "Oh, you're beautiful," and it was a form-fitting outfit, and then whatever came out of your mouth was the dumbest thing I've ever heard out of any actor in TV history.
For me, I've got a Christmas time for a tree.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes, that was
so good.
Oh, you know what I was thinking, and your podcast is a great platform to spread this idea, is that Sony should remake all those little ornaments they did of us in our stop motion animation costumes. I have like one of them, but I feel like they should make those again because they were so great.
You had a Britta Bot ornament? Yeah,
like they made them of all of our characters from that episode.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Can
awesome.
you send Ken and I a picture of it if it's handy?
So Sony, are you listening? Make those.
No one's listening to this. That's why we're allowed to do this
Gillian,
right
do
now.
you have it in your possession, or they
Oh yeah,
just
this
made
is an
them?
unofficial podcast, unaffiliated with Sony's Pictures Entertainment and NBC Universal.
What, don't you and Allison, I like the Instagram comment you said to Allison, I think you and I should start a rival podcast.
Oh yeah. Yes, Allison and I are doing the official podcast.
Yeah. The brightest timeline with Gil and Allie. And I mean, we're totally doing this rogue. We have no ads. We're doing this with an amazing producer that has taught us how to FaceTime and do these things. And it's so embarrassing where we shot a promo for the first podcast episode. Me and Joel were talking on FaceTime for 2 hours, and neither of us had the sound on. And
that's perfect now. I mean, that just feels so community.
Yeah.
Did you see it on Instagram, Gillian, of Ken falling out of his chair?
I don't think Gillian. I think Gillian's blocked me, and I blocked her. So deal with it. So it's fine.
Oh, I didn't realize this was so hostile.
I can't hear if someone else is talking. I can't hear it.
Oh, really? You can't hear it?
Yeah, I can only hear you.
Got it.
Wait. Oh, Gillian, you can hear me. I had you muted for a bit.
Hello again.
Because there's a reverb, and this was very good podcast etiquette, is to make the listener feel like they're in Requiem for a Dream The sound starts bouncing up and down. All of a sudden, you're Ellen Barkin on speed, and your refrigerator is coming to attack you. That said, I don't know if you saw Ken fall out of his chair on our Instagram, but that was the phone call where we couldn't record ourselves. Some legal reason that Apple has.
What?
Does this make any sense?
Yes. It's all making sense. Everything makes sense.
Ken, do you have a favorite Britta episode?
Yeah, I think the timeline episode was my favorite one. Maybe because I just recently saw it again. Because my kids are huge Community fans now, and man, there are just so much layers there to Britta, where smoking pot, pizza in my tummy, it was, and then the kind of the running gag of like, let him finish, that they do on Community all the time as a runner. I think Britta had the best delivery. Gillian had the best delivery of that. She goes, "What? Yes. Pizza? No, let him finish." The way you said it was, I don't know.
Which episode was the Raise the Petard?
Which one was that?
Oh, yes. What was that? Was that it? I feel like that was later. I feel like there were some good season 6 episodes too. I liked the drawbridge thing I did with Keith David in season 6 when I was working at the bar. I liked when I fell in love with Subway and
that might be the best Britta episode. That was so good.
That's good time.
I gotta rewatch that. Oh my god. Oh, that was.
I like the.
I liked a lot of stuff, I liked it's a very quick moment, but I really liked my appearance as Space Elder Britta in the RV episode with the giant hand, where Ovid flashes like millions of years into the future.
Yes.
And Paget, Danny, and I are Space Elders.
That episode was so out there, wonderfully out there, that every time I would see, like, read that an episode like that, I'd be like, "This is a network television show on at 8:00."
By that time we were on Yahoo, but yes.
Oh, how about that Lisa Loeb? Weren't you singing like a Lisa Loeb song?
Yeah.
Remember that? You were singing the song in Keith David's RV, and it just transforms into a music video, and that blew my mind.
Yes. Moonlight, something. So, yes, I remember.
I really...
Yeah, I had some great stuff in season 6.
Yeah, I think season 6 is... now that it's out on Netflix, I hope more people see that one, because that's really up there, because I felt like we were allowed to go nuts, and the episodes were longer. It felt like looser, and I think some of my favorite memories were there. And oh my God, on a sentimental note.
Did you get blackout drunk during that too, Ken?
I remember that finale. Oh, Gillian, you'll remember. Yeah. You and Danny will remember when Danny does the monologue of how it's TV and TV's not supposed to have closure.
God.
And
are you trying to make me cry?
Oh God, you started crying because I was in the script, and you looked at me and Paget, and I was crying so hard off camera, and then Paget was crying because I was crying, and then I was stressed out.
I felt so bad for Paget and Keith David, because I feel like when new people would join our show, we'd just like apologize in advance about the hours they were about to work and the bad that they were stepping up to.
Oh my gosh.
And they would kind of look at us confused at first, and then by the end of a week, they were like, "What have I done?"
Do you remember when we had Betty White on?
Oh God.
And I mean, she was like 88 at that point, and she was on for like 3 days, and they had her there for 14 hours. And she turned to me and she was like, "Do you guys do this all the time?" And I was like, "Oh yes. I'm so sorry, Miss White."
Really? Was she actually said that? I don't remember talking to her much.
I talked to her in the makeup trailer.
Got it.
I was just scared to talk to her.
She was such a pro. She was like, all I remember was like,
she is so lovely.
Yeah. she never.
She's royal.
Yeah. She blows my mind at how, and then, and performance-wise, she was just on point. Her timing was just better than all of us. I remember like that. That put us all to shock.
We should.
We should wrap it up.
Probably,
I think with Gillian. I'm so sorry.
If she can't even hear what I'm saying, Ken, take it away.
Okay, I gotta be the translator. Joe was like, we should wrap it up with Gillian because they can't hear me on the microphone.
Wow.
And I'm Joe McHale. You can't hear me on the microphone. So what's the point of having Gillian on podcast?
Gillian and Matt Damon's brother would agree.
You can do a part 2 and actually schedule a time with me.
I know. We wanted to sabotage you. We wanted to get we just wanted to get everyone by surprise. But next time, I think we will schedule. This was all Joel's fault. This is a bad idea.
I blame I take responsibility.
Friends, I found a lot of community props in my house as well during this period of home cleaning. I have the sombrero that I tried to put on the frog in the one episode. I found that.
There's a significance to that sombrero. That's making me laugh right now.
I found. At one point, we thought the show was canceled, and one of the producers, I don't think he should have, but gave me some props from Troy and Abed's apartment because we thought the show was done, and I found those.
Wow.
Oh wow.
I was thinking we should try and maybe auction off some stuff for charity, right? I have some Brita sweaters because Joel very smartly taught me to call Sony at the end of every season and demand my wardrobe. So I still have a lot of Brita sweaters.
I definitely told everyone to do that.
I think that's a great idea to auction off for charity. We should totally do that.
We'd love to see all the wardrobe that you took home because that was really nice stuff.
Michael Haggins, who wrote the song Daybreak, remember when he autographed CDs for all of us? I found mine. I found a lot of stuff.
Man,
I still have mine too.
There you go.
I don't think I got one. Anyway, on that note.
Yeah. And I have a bunch of they're not old. They're brand new, never been worn, season 6 cast and crew sweatshirts that we could completely auction off to charity.
Yeah.
Well, Gillian, we love you to death.
Love you both.
And we will do this better under better circumstances. So we kind of know what to do. So
that's right. I love you guys.
Love you too. Bye.
Thanks. Gillian, say hello to Chris.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Anyway, I think as Andrew is desperately signaling us, I think it's time to wrap it up. Next time, we're not going to sabotage our community family anymore. We're going to give them all a heads up. Just want to thank Andrew Yang for coming on this podcast, and I'm glad we brought him on in such a professional way. And Gillian Jacobs for coming on, and on behalf of Joe McHale and myself, we are the Darkest Timeline. And Joel, take the floor.
Podcast number 2. So we'll see you next week, right, Ken?
Yes, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
An even whiter bedroom.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Gillian. Thank you, Joel.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ken, in your bedroom. This is a first.
All right. Bye.